सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। So we are doing this particular point. Purvapakshi, he asked a question. He said, we do see in our life that even after listening to Vedanta, we still continue to be the same. There is no change. So, in answer to that, the Siddhanta says that's not possible. Just listening is different, understanding is different. Understanding makes a difference. The one who understands the drashta as Brahmavastu cannot be a sansari. Therefore, this particular thing, I have heard Vedanta, but I have no change. That's all wrong. Hearing has to be reflected upon. What is heard has to be reflected upon. And having reflected upon it, it has to be properly understood. Because what is to be understood is very much within our experience. Therefore, there is no ambiguity about the evidence of truth. There is no ambiguity, there is no doubt, there is no vagueness, there is no doubt, there is no vagueness, and there is no confusion as regards the evidence of the truth. The evidence of truth is undoubted. The evidence of truth means the evidence of one's existence. The evidence of truth means the evidence of the experience of the subject, evidence of the subject's existence, the evidence of the observer, the existence of the observer, the existence of the experiencer, call it by any name. So that is not in doubt. See, if there is waking, dream and deep sleep, the experiencer is also evident. States change, but the observer doesn't change. You see, perceptions change, but the perceiver remains the one, the same, common. Therefore, there is no problem of the evidence of the truth. One has to only really look at it very closely and see its continuity in all the three states. Therefore, knowledge of the self does not, to say that knowledge of the self doesn't make a difference is wrong. Knowledge of the self alone makes the difference, nothing else makes the difference. You see? It's like if I mistake the rope for a snake and if I am afraid, and then understanding that it is not snake but rope makes a difference. How can it not be? I know that it is a rope, but still I have fear, you can't say. You see? Supposing I have heard that it is not snake but rope, Even though I have heard it, but if I have not seen it for myself, if I haven't understood it, then definitely the fear continues. It is the knowledge, one's knowledge about a reality that liberates oneself from all samsara, and there is no question of there being samsara. This particular thing, the Siddhanti has clarified it. And now the next question is, then these are all very serious doubts in the mind of a student. Very serious, very important doubts. In fact, these doubts are there in every mind. In fact, even to, discover really the kind of doubts that one has in one's mind, even to discover those doubts is a problem. One just lives on with the doubts without knowing exactly what they are. This doubt is, the Purvapakshi thinks, this is everybody's thinking place. The Purvapakshi thinks, even Brahma Vidya is a part of the ritual. We have rituals in Karma Kanda, and even Brahma Vidya, meaning Vedanta, is a part of the ritual, Karma Kanda. That's what he thinks. Just as Indra, Varuna, Ityadi, Devatas are there, they are a part of the ritual, Devata. You see, like Yajamana is a part of the ritual, priest is a part of the ritual, the material things that we use are a part of the ritual, the mantras are a part of the ritual, and the Devatas whom we worship in the rituals are a part of a ritual. They're all related to the ritual. Now the Purvapakshi thinks really even self-knowledge is a part of the ritual. It is related to the ritual. And this particular point is being handled here. Say Brahma Vidya has nothing to do with ritual. Brahma Vidya is not related to something. Brahman is not used as a Devata in the ritual. Because Brahman is the truth of all humans and all living beings, including gods. The very source of the whole creation cannot be, which is indeed the very subject, cannot be one of the details of ritual. Knowledge is not further utilized for ritual. Brahmajnanam is not further utilized for the ritual. Brahmajnanam is the end in itself. Brahmajnanam liberates the person. You see, it's like, I'll give you an example. Going to deep sleep state is not a part of your any action. Like supposing you have to go to Rishikesh, then Rishikesh is the object of reaching, and you go by car, that is a means of reaching. As an individual, you are the one who reaches, and then there are so many details related to that yatra. When you undertake a yatra, well, there are so many things related to that yatra. But deep sleep, for example, when you fall asleep, to which action can we relate deep sleep? Tell me. Deep sleep state cannot be related to any action because it is freedom from all actions. Non-duality cannot be a part of the ritual. And that is being said here. Yat punaruktam, from here we have to see. Yat punaruktam. What was said by the Purvapakshi before? Shravanat Parachina Yoho. Shravanat means following the Shravana. Parachina means that which comes after Shravana. So it is said in the Vedanta, you have to do Shravanam, you have to do Mananam, Nididhyasam. This is the sequence. You hear what is said, and then see what is, and then you try to verify what you hear. This process of verifying these statements really that we hear from the Shruti, and they are all verifiable in one's experience. Like you see, verifiable means, is another word for that the topic that is stated by Vedanta is available for understanding. That's all what it means. What is stated is available for understanding. Supposing we say, after death you will go to heaven, I can't verify it in this life. Living now, I can't verify whether I will go to heaven or not. So it remains a belief really. Anything that I can't verify in this life remains a belief. Either you accept that belief or you reject that belief, but then it will always remain a belief. But what Vedanta says is verifiable right here and now. This is an important thing. So, the Shruti says, hey, you have to hear what the Shruti says about you and the universe, and and then do mananam, atmavare, drashtavyaha, shrotavyaha, and you listen to what the Shruti says, and then followed by mananam, mantavyaha, it has to be reflected upon, and nididhyasitavyaha, it has to be, again it means the same thing, deeply reflected upon. It has some technical connotations, it doesn't matter. It means reflection, and drashtavyaha, jnatavyaha should be understood. That means what you hear, try to verify whether it is true or not in your experience. Like somebody says, hey, what you see is not snake, it is indeed the rope, then that statement is available for verification. When the 10th man is told, hey, the 10th man is not elsewhere, the 10th man is right here and now, and it is yourself, and that is also available for verification. Why? Because he can always count the others and then count himself. He is available to be discovered as the 10th man. This is called being available. A reality unfolded, a reality stated is available for verification. And listening is for knowledge. Yes, see, when I hear, it is meant for knowledge. And when I verify the statement, that process of reflection, that process of reflecting upon the statements in order to find out whether they are true or not, that is what is called mananam and nididhyasanam. An effort to verify is called reflection. An effort to verify is called nididhyasanam. And therefore, once I verify that it is true, that is over. The pursuit is over. The pursuit is over. Not that really after verifying that Atma is Brahman, then again one has to perform some worship or ritual, because the very need for a ritual, the very need for another undertaking is not there, because the sense of incompleteness is gone. In verifying the self as Brahman, in verifying oneself as Brahman, then one also verifies that he is not limited. The statement that he is unlimited, the statement that he is not the form, the statement that he is unlimited, once it is verified, and if it is understood that one is not the form, and therefore one is not incomplete, that means one is a complete being. He is a being, not a thing. He is a being which is not, this is a thing. Body is a thing, as it were. So the drashta is not one of the forms, one of the perceptions, or one of the things. It is the being, all-comprehensive being, and for the complete being, there cannot be any need for a ritual, there cannot be any need for an upasana, there cannot be any need for any action. For an incomplete being, as long as I think that I am the form, I feel incomplete, and as an incomplete individual, I am in need of so many actions and results. That is a different matter. But as the complete being, in verifying that I am not the incomplete form, but I am the complete being, that verification cannot be followed by any karma or upasana. And therefore, Shravanam is for knowledge, and verifying is all, reflection also is for knowledge. Shravanam is for understanding, Mananam is for understanding, Nididhyasanam is for understanding, and understanding is final, and beyond understanding, after understanding, it is not that we undertake another ritual, another upasana. This is the Siddhantam. But when this Siddhantam is not understood, then the Purvapakshi comes up with some doubt. What is that? He says, well, yat punaruktam shravanat parachina yoho. The mananam and nididhyasanam which have to be done after shravanam. Mananidhyasanam yoho. This mananam and nididhyasanam, well, darshanat, they are being stated in the Shruti. We do hear in the Shruti. The Shruti says you should not only do shravanam, but you should also do mananam and nididhyasanam. So, darshanat, vidiseshatvam brahmanaha. You see, for him, according to him, mananam means worshipping. Mananam means prayer. Mananam means worshipping. That means you hear about Brahma and that information you use it for a ritual. Vidiseshatvam brahmanaha na swarupa paryavasayatvam iti. So the Purvapakshi thinks your Shravanam does not culminate in knowledge, in Brahma Jnanam. When you hear, you get information about Brahma. You see the whole problem. When you hear the scripture, you get some information. Now that information, based upon that information, you worship Brahman. That worship of Brahman will give you some phala. And in that way, they think Param Brahman also, which is the topic of Vedanta, is also like a Devata, like Indra, Varuna, Ityadi Devatas, which are a part of a ritual. In that manner, Param Brahman also is a part of the ritual. Why? Shravanam only gives you information. And based upon that information, you worship. Like, people worship Krishna. You have some information about Krishna. Krishna is Devaki Nandan. Krishna is like this. He looks like this. And he had a flute in his hand. Like this, there is always certain information. There is information about Rama. Based upon that information, you worship Krishna, you worship Rama. In that manner, Param Brahma also you get some information, and based on that information you worship Brahman. In this manner, the Mimamsaka, some of the Purvapakshis think. In fact, that is what everybody thinks. This is what everybody thinks. And that is being negated here by the Siddhanti as a naiji. Swarup na swarup paryavasayatvam. Na. You are wrong, my dear Purvapakshi. Because avagati arthatvat manana nididhyasana yoho. A reflection is not meant to lead you to worship. Mananam means, a method of verifying. An effort to verify leads to understanding. It does not lead to worship. Nowhere we experience, there is no instance in which reflection leads to worship. Reflection always leads to knowledge, verification. You try to verify that method of that process, that effort to verify leads to knowledge. When you say this is not snake but rope, I try to verify, and that knowledge, that effort of verification leads me to either the discovery that it is indeed a real snake or it is not the snake. Knowledge. And therefore Mananam is not a second effort after knowledge. Mananam is also an effort for knowledge. I am going to repeat it. You please try to capture this statement. Mananam is not an effort after knowledge. Mananam also is an effort for knowledge. Deep reflection also is an effort for knowledge. Shravanam is an effort for understanding. Mananam and Nididhyasanam also are an effort for understanding. They are not an effort made after all understanding. Because when a person wants to go to sleep, this again I would like to come back to this example. Whether you just lying down on the bed closing your eyes and controlling the mind, these are all efforts to slip into sleep, to fall asleep. You can't make another effort after sleeping. You can't make another effort after sleeping. After all resolution, there is no effort. In fact, you make every effort to resolve. You make every effort to fall asleep. I make every effort to, whether it is lying down or closing eyes, and if the mind is restless, and I try to discipline myself, I try to control my memory, all those efforts are only, or sometimes I just even recite some mantra in my mind, Hey Bhagavan, Om Namah Shivaya, give me some sleep. All these are for what? Efforts to fall asleep. But there is no effort after sleep. Why? Neither it is required nor it is possible. I am bringing in both. Neither it is necessary nor it is possible. In the same manner, after understanding that everything is one being, neither there is necessary for effort nor it is possible. How can the form can make an effort, the drashta can't make any karma. Drashta is unlimited. What effort can he make? The unlimited can't make any karma or upasana. Therefore here it says, I have understood the self, now I have to experience. This is also another problem. Let me bring in this up. This is also everybody's problem. Most of those who do sadhana, those who do spiritual sadhana, they have this problem. I have understood, but I have not yet experienced. What do they think? I have understood, but I am not. Is it a common problem or a very rare problem? Common problem. This is a common problem. And a person the one who sees, my God, truth is not something that is yet to be experienced. Truth is already within experience. It's like saying, I have understood myself, but I have not yet experienced myself. How can you say? One is constantly within experience of one. I have understood myself, but I have not yet experienced myself is a very big confusion in this world, and therefore that is also wrong. Therefore, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam we do, we listen, we reflect, we meditate. Whatever we do to understand the truth that is constantly oneself. Like the 10th man is being the 10th man. The 10th man is being the 10th man and thinking that he is not the 10th man. See the difference? He is being the 10th man and he is thinking he is not the 10th man, the 10th man is away. The rope, it is being the rope and it is being thought of as snake. In the same manner, we are being Brahman, we are being the being, we are being the unlimited, we are being the conscious being. We are being the conscious being. And thinking that I am a form. That's all the adhyasa, that's all the confusion. Even when we think I am nothing but a form, but the fact continues that we are being the conscious being. Are you able to follow? We continue to be the conscious being. As a waker, I am a conscious being. As a dreamer, we are a conscious being. And as a resolver, as a deep sleeper, also conscious being. There is no negation of consciousness in deep sleep. There is negation of thought, but not consciousness. Negation of consciousness is not possible because if consciousness is negated, if consciousness were negated, then the negation of that consciousness has to be registered by another, again consciousness. Thus it is the fundamental contradiction in human life. The basic contradiction that we commit is that consciousness is negatable. Consciousness is negatable. It's like saying, I have no tongue. You see? It's like saying, I have no tongue. How can it be I have no tongue means, what does it mean I have no tongue? Even in saying that I have no tongue, one uses the tongue. It's a contradiction. It's a contradiction. In the same manner, consciousness gets negated is also a contradiction. And in seeing this contradiction, man is liberated. Understand? Liberation is nothing but seeing this, that consciousness, it is impossible for consciousness to get negated. It is impossible for the experiencer to have negation. It is impossible for the observer, for the drashta, for the experiencer, for the conscious being to have negation. And what gets resolved, what resolves in deep sleep is not consciousness. What resolves in deep sleep are the entire thinking. The thinking resolves, not consciousness resolves. The thinking that I am the form, I am a man, I am a woman, I am young, I am old, I am a biological entity, I am a collection of thoughts, vagaira, vagaira. Our entire waking biological identity resolves. Our biological identity resolves. And entire biological identity is in the form of thinking anyway. It is in the form of thinking. Now when the thinking resolves, then we think consciousness is gone. How can there not be fear of death? Fear of death doesn't descend from heaven, please. Fear of death has a reason, and that reason is the conclusion that negation of thought is negation of consciousness. Think about it. And without this conclusion, negation of thought means negation of consciousness. Fear doesn't come from anywhere else other than this conclusion. Negation of the mind means negation of thinking, means negation of consciousness. And when you look at this, where does now you ask a question, where does the thinking get negated? In death and deep sleep. Okay. Death to chhod dijiye. Deep sleep is the one in which the entire thinking is negated. The thinking resolves. And when the whole thinking again wakes up, who wakes up is that thinking wakes up. That thinking becomes re-manifest. Consciousness doesn't wake up because it never went to sleep. To resolve is to sleep. The thinking goes to sleep. The thinking resolves. And whatever becomes unmanifest alone becomes re-manifest. Okay? Become re-manifest. And both the phases are one's knowledge. So when the thinking is there, I am aware of it. When the thinking resolves, again, we are aware. This must be You have to sit down and see this point. I am able to see my thinking. I am also able to experience the total resolution of thinking, including memory. My perception that I am a form resolves, my memory of the form also resolves. The entire waking state resolves and the memory of it also resolves. And that itself is a knowledge. That itself is one's experience, that is not one's belief. That is not one's belief. That I see my thinking is our knowledge, and we ourselves experience the blackout of thinking also, that the thinking becomes blacked out is also our experience. And that experience has no negation. That consciousness has no negation. Thus consciousness is always, that is our identity. Unnegatable consciousness is our identity. And therefore, what we are constantly experiencing is that consciousness. I am being conscious means I am being that unnegatable consciousness. And therefore, one doesn't have to think that after understanding I have to experience consciousness. Consciousness is already within experience. Therefore, this common, if one thinks that I have to experience consciousness, even if he makes an effort for the whole life, he's just wasting time. He's wasting time. In the name of sadhana, we waste a lot of time, please. In the name of sadhana, we waste a lot of time. Instead of doing sadhana without exposure to the Shruti properly, it is better to study Shruti. It is better to study the scripture and see what it says and understand what it says. That is the sadhana. Hearing is sadhana, and verifying what it says is sadhana. Studying is sadhana, and verifying whether it is true or not, that is sadhana. And without study and without reflection, and if a person in the name of sadhana doing something, and he is told also, oh, Shastra is all intellectual and you have to experience the truth, then he will be on a trip, and it is a waste of time. Instead, prayer is much better. At least keep on saying, keep on praying to God. Hey Bhagavan, help me, guide me properly in understanding. Guide me properly in discovering myself. Guide me properly to have self-control. Guide me properly to have values. Help me to live the right life. That prayer is much more useful than the other kind of sadhana. And sadhana is what? An effort to experience consciousness. An effort to experience consciousness. That effort is what? It's a waste. Why? One is being consciousness. One is being consciousness. One has to only recognize how he is unnegatable consciousness. How am I unnegatable? Should be the topic in life. Everybody says I am negatable. Everybody thinks I am negatable. Here is a scripture which says you are eternal. You are unnegatable. It doesn't say you will go to heaven, etc. You are unnegatable. How am I unnegatable? And that is analyzed by the Shruti. This is how you are unnegatable. Look, this is how you are unnegatable. Where are you negatable? In the waking you are not negatable, dream you are not able. With the thought you are there, without the thought you are there, with the memory you are there, without the memory also You are there. You means not as an individual, because individuality is also a thought. The entire waking identity is a thought. And therefore, the sadhana must be in the form of verifying how the self is not negatable. And that is why, just as Shravanam is meant to help us understand, similarly Mananam and Nididhyasanam also are meant for understanding, and understanding is final, and it is not followed by any ritual, it is not followed by any upasana. So like Indradi Devatas are related to karma, in that manner Brahman is not related to any karma. In this manner, the Siddhanti dismisses the Purvapakshi. Is it important, this particular, to handle this doubt, to dwell upon this doubt, is it important or not? That I know the truth, but I have to experience the truth is the commonest problem all over. You go anywhere, this is really, this is what they say, this is what we are told. Shastra gives you some information, intellectual information, but after that you have to leave the Shastra and do sadhana and experience the self. That's not Shastra. Shastram doesn't say. You are choicelessly experiencing your being unlimited and without recognition. Like the 10th man is being the 10th man and thinking is not the 10th man. That's all. Take that example. He is being the 10th man and thinking that the 10th man is away. The wave is being water and thinking I am a wave. See the difference between being and thinking. Man is being unlimited and thinking I am limited. He is being unlimited. He is never being limited. He is being conscious, thinking that I am a form. He is being unlimited, thinking that I am limited. He is being unnegatable and thinking I am negatable. He is being free and thinking I am bound. Therefore, the thinking is about the being. The distortion is about the being. It is being the rope, but thought of a snake. It is being water, being seen as, it is thought as a wave. And therefore to say that I have understood, but I have to experience it is not right. Is not right. And this particular tradition of unfoldment, is what is called parampara. Are you able to follow? This tradition of unfoldment. This unfoldment is not something that is done by the senses. Senses do not tell me that I am the unlimited being. And the sense perception based logic also does not tell me that I am being unlimited being. And what tells me are the words coming from the Shastra. The words, the corrective words used by the Shastra, used by the teacher. These words, this Shabda Pramanam, as given to me by the scripture and the teacher, make me think. Make me take into account the experience which is independent of thought. Until I hear the scripture, Until I hear the teacher, for me there is no difference between thought and experience. When thought is, there is experience also. When there is no thought, there is no experience. In fact, before I hear the scripture, before I hear the teacher, for me, experience is a word synonymous with thought. Whereas, and that the experience does not mean the thought, that the experience is independent of thought. That the experience doesn't rise with the thought, doesn't die with the thought, that the experience in fact is independent of thought. There is experience of the thought, there is experience pertaining to the thought, and there is also experience pertaining to negation of thought. And that experience is indeed independent of thought, and that is the truth, that is your identity, and that experience is that the difference between thought and that experience. I cannot be made to know that difference by the sense organs and by the logic. The sense organs and the logic cannot make me see the difference between the non-eternal thought and the eternal experience, the negatable thought and the unnegatable experience. It is the Shabda which comes and tells me, hey, don't see the thought as synonymous with experience. Experience is independent of thought. Like deep sleep is an experience, but there is no thought. Deep sleep is an experience in which there are no sense organs. Deep sleep state is an experience in which there is no thought, there is no memory, there is no individuality, there is no form, there is no time, there is no space, no thought. Thus, experience is independent of thought, and it is unlike the thought. It survives the thought. Thus, what can help me discern between the negatable and the unnegatable subject is not the sense organs, based inferences. It is the Shabda Pramanam, and that Shabda Pramanam handed down from generation to generation is what we call Guru Parampara real. This is called Parampara. Handed down from teacher to the student, and again student to his student. This is, and it is always in the form of Parampara. If it is not, Shabda Pramana cannot be in any other form. Supposing our Parampara breaks, just let us imagine, Parampara breaks. It's gone. Now I have no scripture. I can't have exposure to the words which tell me the difference between the unnegatable experience and the negatable thought. So this teaching will not be available. Then I would try to figure out what the truth is on the basis of my sense organs and logic. Like scientists always try to find out what this world is on the basis of sense data and the sense data based inference. And then using the sense organs and the sense organs based inference will not lead us to the unnegatable. They cannot help me to recognize the unnegatable experience, because I would live with the conclusion that experience is synonymous with the thought. When the thought is gone, awareness is gone. When thought is gone, consciousness is gone. When thought is gone, I am gone. This conclusion, there is nothing in this world to correct this conclusion. Objects cannot correct this conclusion. My eyes and ears cannot correct this conclusion. And my sense perception based logic cannot correct this conclusion. I would live with that conclusion, and that conclusion cannot be corrected by what I see or what I infer. And therefore, this parampara, this Shabda Pramanam that has been coming down, I would say is the most useful for the Jiva. It is not a statement by a Hindu religious fanatic. It is not a statement made by a Hindu religious fanatic that the most valuable in life is Vedanta. It's like saying, if I go on saying that the most valuable for man, if he wants to see colors, the most valuable is eyes. Is it really a fanatical statement? If you want to hear the sounds, the most valuable source, the most valuable means is the ears. In that manner, what is most valuable for man in finding out his identity, what is most valuable is this Sampradaya, the tradition of Brahma Vidya, the tradition of self-knowledge is most valuable. I can't even say most valuable. That is the only thing that is valuable. There is no alternative to it. And therefore, this particular tradition, when we remember it on this particular day, we call it Guru Purnima. Now, there are so many teachers. Mother also is a teacher. In fact, the first teacher for a person is mother. The most basic values in life are taught by the mother. In fact, the mother, the first person who teaches the child, Jhoot mat bolo, sach bolo. Who teaches me? The mother. All values, don't be violent, don't tell lies, be respectful to elders, keep clean. All these basic values are taught by the mother, the first teacher. And it is these values which the child imbibes, sustains that child till the end of life, I am telling you. We always respect what we hear from a person for whom we have respect. You cannot respect what you hear unless you respect the source. Unless you respect the source. If Dawood Ibrahim says don't be violent, it is not very convincing. If Mahatma Gandhi says don't be violent, the source is also very important. Both are the same. He said don't be violent. He also says don't be violent. But the source is real. And therefore, a child respects most the mother. Therefore, as a mother, it is always better for the mother to teach all the values to the children. You don't have to leave it to another outside teacher to. That is why this what we call moral class in a school doesn't work, I am telling you. Moral class doesn't work in school because you don't have so much of regard to an academician, an academic teacher, and so much of respect. Therefore, you just hear it. But when a mother says it means. Silently you are receptive. Though you are saying, you don't look to be receiving it, but in your mind, you are receiving what the mother says. That is why the first teacher is mother. So the mother teaches the values, and then the father teaches the sense of responsibility, duty, and introduces the child to the prayer. The father tells, hey, this is a world of helplessness. Life is full of helplessness, full of uncertainties, full of fears. The only thing that comforts you in times of, the uncertainty, fear and turmoil in the mind, the only thing that can comfort you is prayer. That is why the father initiates the child into Gayatri. The father introduces the child to Gayatri. Prayer is also a teacher. And then we have another Acharya, and that Acharya is the one who introduces the student, the person, to himself. Mother introduces the child to the values. Father introduces the child to the importance of doing duty and prayer. And the teacher introduces the child in time to himself. And that is why our scripture says, Matruman, Pitruman, Acharyaman, Veda. Matruman, the one who has had proper bringing up by the mother. The one who has had exposure to mother's teaching. The one who has had exposure to father's teaching. And the one who has had exposure to a teacher's, Acharya's teaching, he becomes qualified for self-knowledge. In this manner, all the three are parampara. All the three are parampara. Mother's teaching also is a part of, because it prepares. Mother's teaching, father's teaching prepare the student for Brahma Vidya. And the Acharya unfolds what the scripture says. And therefore, when we celebrate Guru Purnima, in fact, we are celebrating the tradition of the entire teaching. The teaching given by the mother of the values, the teaching of the values, the teaching of the duty, the teaching of the prayer, and of course the teaching of the Brahma Vidya, this whole tradition. And it is this tradition that sustains the individual. And it is this tradition that sustains the whole society. Think of life minus values, minus prayer, minus exposure to self-knowledge. Think of life. What would one be? What would the society be? Minus values, minus responsibility, minus duty, and minus the exposure to Veda. What would life be? It would be chaos. There would be no order. There will be man who will only be unhappy. And therefore, culture means disciplines. When we say culture, it is this values, prayer, and Brahma Vidya forms the entirety of the culture. It is not just really the way we eat, the way we dress forms the culture. These days culture means what? Lifestyle. Lifestyle is not culture. That which prepares the person for his own happiness is the culture. And therefore, celebrating Guru Purnima is celebrating the Vedic dharma, Vedic culture. Celebrating Guru Purnima is celebrating all the traditions of teaching. And today happens to be that Guru Purnima. It is not just thinking of Veda Vyasa alone. It is just thinking of the entire tradition of teachers. The entire tradition of teaching. It is remembering the value of values and prayers and Brahma Vidya. It is remembering the value of both Karmakanda and Vedanta. It is remembering the value of both duties and prayers and Brahma Vidya. This whole tradition, just on this particular day, we remember this particular parampara, this particular tradition of teaching, which we call Guru Purnima. Okay? And then there is another way of remembering. There is a way of remembering the tradition. And that way of remembering the tradition is recite some verses which glorify the value of the teachers. Okay? That means. Namah Shivaya. If you have brought the Guru Stotram, you can just recite, to be nice. I first recite, then you follow me, rather than reciting together, then some will be going forward, some will be going backwards, it will all be. Got all the papers. Okay, Ji. I first recite and then you follow. Okay? Aram. अखंड मंडलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। स्थावरं जङ्गमं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्चित् सचराचरम् तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरम् तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सर्वश्रुतिशिरोरत्ना विराजितपदाम्बुजः वेदान्ताम्बुजसूर्यो यः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चैतन्यः शाश्वतः शान्तः व्योमातीतो निरञ्जनः बिन्दुनादकलातीतः तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ज्ञानशक्तिसमारूढः तत्त्वमाला विभूषितः भुक्तिमुक्तिप्रदाता च तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अनेकजन्मसम्प्राप्ता कर्मबन्धविदाहिने आत्मज्ञानप्रदानेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। शोषणं भवसिन्धोश्च ज्ञापनं सारसम्पदः गुरोः पादोदकं सम्यक् तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। न गुरोरधिकं तत्त्वं न गुरोरधिकं तपः तत्त्वज्ञानात् परं नास्ति तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मन्नाथः श्रीजगन्नाथः मद्गुरुः श्रीजगद्गुरुः मदात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुरादिरनादिश्च गुरुः परमदैवतम् गुरोः परतरं नास्ति तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव bandhuscha sakha tvameva. Tvameva vidya dravidam tvameva. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. हो गया जी गुरु पूर्णिमा. For us, every day is a Guru Purnima. The best way of celebrating Guru Purnima is to be receptive to what they say, studying what they say and trying to understand what they say. It's like, the best way of showing your respect to your parents is being receptive to what they say. Being receptive to what they say. Therefore, every day is a Guru Purnima for us. Okay. Please, you can open these things.